I still remember that evening as if it were a dream slowly unfolding into reality, a night when a single digital notification shattered my routine and opened the door to a world I'd long forgotten existed. It was around 8:45 p.m. when my phone buzzed with an alert that seemed, at first, like one of the endless reminders that cluttered my daily life. But this was different. The screen displayed a message about a private spa appointment, a detail that caught my eye with its promise of exclusivity and relaxation. The notification was crisp and inviting, hinting at an experience designed to soothe both body and soul. Yet, embedded within the text was something far more elusive: secret plans for an intimate, midnight escape. At first, I hesitated. My life had become an endless cycle of work, meetings, and solitary evenings spent scrolling through social media, a routine so monotonous that any deviation felt almost foreign. But that night, the promise of something clandestine tugged at me. I remembered moments from my past when life brimmed with spontaneity, a time when every day held the potential for unexpected adventures. The notification stirred a deep, dormant yearning, urging me to break free from the invisible shackles of routine. I decided then and there to embrace the invitation. I cleared my schedule for the evening, meticulously planned my outfit, and allowed myself to indulge in the thrilling anticipation of the unknown. I chose a soft, ivory blouse paired with a deep indigo skirt, a combination that exuded understated elegance and a hint of mystery. Standing before the mirror, I took a moment to study my reflection. There was an unfamiliar sparkle in my eyes, a glimmer of resolve mixed with excitement. I dabbed on a light fragrance, a blend of jasmine and sandalwood that evoked memories of bygone summers and secret gardens. It was as if I were donning not just clothes, but an armor for the soul, one that would protect me as I ventured into uncharted territory. The journey to the spa was a quiet one. The city, usually ablaze with neon and noise, was now draped in the soft hues of twilight. The streets, bathed in the glow of street lamps, seemed to whisper tales of nocturnal escapades. I navigated through familiar avenues until I reached a part of town where modernity and history coexisted in delicate balance. The spa was housed in a renovated building that once served as an old bank, a structure that now exuded refined minimalism with its polished marble floors, soaring ceilings, and an atmosphere of serene exclusivity. At the entrance, subtle music played in the background, a gentle piano melody that immediately put me at ease. Inside, the reception area was a sanctuary of calm. Soft lighting, a muted palette of blues and grays, and the faint aroma of essential oils blended perfectly to create an ambience that felt both intimate and transcendent. A receptionist with warm, knowing eyes greeted me, her smile imbued with an unspoken understanding of the magic that sometimes hid behind the most mundane routines. "Welcome," she said softly, as if aware that I was not here merely for a spa treatment, but for something more, a clandestine chapter in a story that was just beginning. She led me through a series of gently lit corridors until we arrived at a private treatment room. The door closed behind us with a soft click, and for a moment, I felt as though I had been sealed off from the world. The room was a blend of luxury and comfort, walls draped in rich, velvety fabric, soft, diffused light playing across elegant furnishings, and the delicate scent of lavender mingling with the subtle tang of eucalyptus. I sank into a plush chaise, feeling the tension of endless weekdays begin to dissolve with each passing second. No sooner had I settled into this oasis of calm than another notification appeared on my phone, a second message that seemed to ripple with intrigue. Its content was brief yet loaded with promise. "Your midnight escape awaits at the sanctuary of desire. Follow the path that only the brave can tread." My heart quickened at the words. Were they part of the spa's unique experience, or was this something else entirely? My mind raced with possibilities: secret rendezvous, hidden meetings, perhaps even a carefully orchestrated adventure designed to pull me into a world of intimacy and passion. The massage therapist entered shortly after, her presence serene and composed. With a respectful smile, she began her work, her hands expertly kneading away the knots that had accumulated from stress and routine. As the massage unfolded, the dual sensations of physical relaxation and mental anticipation merged into a heady cocktail. Each stroke on my back carried with it not only the promise of relief, but also the undercurrent of mystery that beckoned me to explore further. I closed my eyes, surrendering both to the sensory delight of the massage and to the tantalizing promise of what lay ahead. When the session drew to a close, I felt as though I had been reborn, light, unburdened, and alert to the pulse of possibility. The therapist, as if reading my thoughts, leaned in gently and whispered, "Your journey is just beginning." With that cryptic message lingering in the air, she excused herself, leaving me with nothing but my own thoughts and the soft glow of the ambient light. I wrapped myself in a silky towel and stepped out of the treatment room, the second notification still pulsing on my phone screen like a heartbeat in the silence. Exiting the spa, I was greeted by the cool embrace of midnight. The city had transformed. Where once there was the rigid order of day, now there was an ethereal sense of fluidity and possibility. I began to walk, each step guided by the luminous glow of streetlights and the promise of secrets waiting to be unveiled. The instructions were vague, a series of poetic clues embedded in digital text, but they were enough to ignite my sense of adventure. I turned down a narrow, cobblestone alley, its walls covered in ivy and the faint, ghostly traces of old graffiti that spoke of eras past. As I continued along this less-traveled path, the urban landscape began to shift. The rigid lines of city planning gave way to a more organic, almost enchanted scene. I passed by a series of small, shuttered shops that looked as though they had been lifted from a different century. A faint hum of distant music reached my ears, as if from an unseen source, guiding me forward. I soon found myself standing before an imposing wrought-iron gate that hinted at secrets behind its intricate designs. The gate creaked open at my touch, revealing a secluded courtyard that felt like a hidden realm, a private garden untouched by time. The courtyard was bathed in a soft, otherworldly light. Delicate fairy lights twinkled among lush greenery, and the gentle sound of a nearby fountain provided a rhythmic counterpoint to the quiet murmur of my thoughts. At the far end of the space, a small pavilion beckoned, its draped fabrics fluttering softly in the night breeze. It was here that I sensed the confluence of the digital invitation and the tangible promise of escape. Before I could cross the threshold, a final notification illuminated my phone: "Enter the sanctuary and let your soul be unbound." Taking a steadying breath, I stepped into the pavilion. The interior was a cocoon of intimacy, a haven of softly glowing lanterns, plush cushions arranged in a welcoming semicircle, and gentle music that resonated like a lullaby. There, sitting on a chaise draped in silk, was a figure whose presence exuded a magnetic warmth. He rose gracefully, his eyes reflecting a blend of wisdom and vulnerability. "I'm Julian," he introduced himself with a voice that was both soothing and compelling. "I believe you received our invitation." There was an unspoken understanding in his tone, a shared recognition of the moment's significance. As we settled into a quiet conversation, the conversation flowed effortlessly, traversing topics that spanned from our personal histories to the ineffable dreams we nurtured in secret. Julian spoke of a life once governed by routine and monotony, of how a single spark of rebellion had transformed him into someone who sought meaning beyond the superficialities of modern existence. His words resonated deeply with me, stirring memories of a time when life was raw, unfiltered, and pulsing with possibility. I found myself opening up about my own journey, the quiet desperation that had slowly eroded my sense of wonder, the small moments of defiance that I had tucked away like fragile treasures. The conversation, enriched by candor and mutual understanding, gradually deepened. Julian explained that the spa appointment was not an isolated experience, it was the catalyst for a series of orchestrated escapes, a secret network of kindred souls who had discovered that hidden sanctuaries existed even in the heart of an indifferent metropolis. Each escape was designed not just as a temporary reprieve, but as an opportunity to reclaim lost pieces of oneself, to rediscover the passions and vulnerabilities that had long been subdued by the relentless march of time and responsibility. Intrigued and emboldened by Julian's revelations, I agreed to join him on what he described as a midnight journey through the city's clandestine enclaves. With our hearts lightened by shared hope and the intoxicating thrill of the unknown, we left the pavilion together, stepping out into the velvet darkness of the night. Our route took us through a tapestry of hidden gems, narrow backstreets where the past whispered through crumbling facades, deserted warehouses transformed into impromptu galleries of art and rebellion, and quiet rooftop gardens where the city's lights merged with the star-strewn sky. At one particularly memorable stop, we arrived at an abandoned industrial complex that had been repurposed into an underground cultural hub. The space was a striking juxtaposition of decay and creativity, rusted metal structures interwoven with vibrant murals, and the air alive with the echoes of impromptu musical performances and whispered conversations. Here, we met other souls who, like us, had been drawn to the promise of escape. There was Lena, a painter whose canvases captured the raw emotions of forgotten dreams, Marcus, a poet whose verses sang of both loss and hope, and an array of individuals whose stories, though disparate, converged in that singular moment of rebellion against the mundane. As we mingled in that charged atmosphere, I felt an overwhelming sense of unity, a collective desire to reclaim life's beauty by embracing vulnerability and defying convention. Conversation flowed like a gentle stream, each person sharing fragments of their journey, their heartaches, and the small triumphs that had defined their existence. In that shared space of art and emotion, I began to see that my own journey was part of a larger tapestry, a mosaic of countless lives intertwined by the common thread of longing for authenticity. The night advanced, and Julian led us onward to our next destination, a quiet beach at the outskirts of the city. The journey there was a meditative one, filled with quiet moments of introspection as the urban sprawl gave way to the rhythmic lull of the ocean. Under a moon that hung low and luminous in the sky, the beach presented itself as a vast, unspoiled canvas, a place where the tide whispered secrets to the shore and the stars looked on in silent witness. We found a secluded spot where the sand was cool and undisturbed, and there, in the gentle embrace of the night, Julian and I sat side by side. The ocean's murmur was hypnotic, a reminder of the eternal cycles of nature and the fleeting nature of human concerns. In that moment, I felt a profound connection not only to Julian but to every soul who had ever yearned to break free from the suffocating confines of routine. Our conversation turned reflective, about love lost and found, about the courage it takes to defy the inevitable passage of time, and about the quiet rebellions that define our existence. The intimacy of that shared vulnerability was electrifying, and for a while, it felt as though the world had reduced itself to the simple cadence of our breathing and the soft crash of the waves. As the first hints of dawn began to paint the horizon in soft hues of lavender and gold, I sensed that our midnight escape was drawing to a close. With a bittersweet mixture of reluctance and resolve, Julian and I exchanged promises to meet again, to continue exploring the hidden sanctuaries of our city and, in the process, the hidden depths of our own hearts. Parting ways with our newfound friends, I began the journey back through the quiet streets, my mind alive with memories of the night's revelations and my heart lighter than it had been in years. In the days that followed, the experience transformed my perspective on life. The digital notification that had first summoned me away from my solitary routine had blossomed into a profound reminder that magic often hides in the corners of the ordinary. I found myself yearning for more moments of unguarded vulnerability, more escapes that defied the rigid boundaries of expectation, more opportunities to reconnect with the parts of me that had been muted by the daily grind. Every time my phone lit up with a new message, I remembered that night, the soft glow of lanterns in a hidden pavilion, the gentle murmur of the ocean at midnight, and the intimate connections forged in the quiet rebellion against the mundane. I began to seek out those secret places with renewed fervor. I returned to the spa on a whim, not for the promise of physical relaxation but for the intoxicating thrill of knowing that behind every well-placed notification, a new adventure might be waiting. I explored narrow alleyways, revisited forgotten courtyards, and even discovered an old, ivy-covered cafe that seemed to have been frozen in time, a sanctuary where time moved slower and conversations carried the weight of history. With each excursion, I realized that the midnight escapes weren't just about the physical act of leaving one place for another. They were about shedding layers of self-doubt and reclaiming the essence of who I truly was. One particularly crisp evening, as autumn began to paint the city in shades of amber and rust, I received a message that hinted at an even grander escape. It read, in an elegant, looping script, "Tonight, beneath the stars in the garden of lost whispers, find the key to your heart's true longing." That message stirred something deep within me, a call to arms against a life of quiet resignation. I found myself retracing familiar steps along winding streets and secret lanes until I arrived at a secluded botanical garden tucked away behind a modern office complex. The garden was a living tapestry of nature's finest artistry, a riot of colors, fragrant blossoms, and ancient trees whose branches intertwined like the fingers of old friends. Inside the garden, I discovered a hidden nook marked by a weathered stone arch. The area was transformed by soft, ambient lighting that cast gentle shadows and created an atmosphere of ethereal beauty. There, in a small alcove, was a vintage key resting on a pedestal of polished stone. It was as if the key had been waiting for me, a tangible symbol of the promise that every midnight escape held, the power to unlock parts of ourselves long kept hidden. I held the key carefully, feeling its cool metal against my skin, and as I did, memories flooded my mind, echoes of childhood wonder, of moments when life seemed limitless, and of the quiet determination that had once driven me to dream beyond the confines of what was expected. That night, beneath a canopy of stars and the soft hum of distant city life, I allowed myself to dream anew. I wrote in a small journal, capturing the details of my journey, the spa appointment that had first sparked my curiosity, the secret messages that guided me along hidden paths, the passionate conversations shared with Julian and other kindred souls, and the intimate moments of self-discovery that had reshaped my understanding of who I was. Each word I penned was a declaration of freedom, a testament to the belief that even in a world dominated by schedules and obligations, the heart could always find a way to soar. In the weeks and months that followed, my midnight escapes became a cherished ritual, a delicate dance between the routine of everyday life and the wild, uncharted territories of the soul. I found that the more I ventured into those secret enclaves, the more I unearthed about myself, my hidden passions, my unspoken desires, and the quiet strength that lay dormant beneath layers of practicality. Julian and I kept in touch, our encounters occasional but always charged with the same transformative energy that had first brought us together in that enchanted pavilion. We exchanged letters filled with poetry and reflections on the beauty of transient moments, and every meeting deepened the bond between us, a silent understanding that life's most precious truths were often found in the spaces between certainty and possibility. There were times, as I navigated the complexities of my day-to-day responsibilities, when the memory of those midnight escapes would wash over me like a tidal wave, a reminder that beneath the veneer of societal expectations lay a reservoir of unbridled passion and creativity. I began to approach my work with a renewed sense of purpose, seeking out small acts of rebellion in the form of spontaneous meetings with friends at quiet cafes or solitary walks through city parks bathed in the golden light of dusk. Every experience, no matter how seemingly insignificant, was imbued with the possibility of transformation. In quiet moments before sleep, I would replay the night's events in my mind, the soft murmur of water in a hidden fountain, the rustle of leaves in a secluded courtyard, the tender glance exchanged with Julian under the silvery gaze of the moon. I realized that the true escape was not merely a physical departure from routine, but an ongoing journey of self-discovery, an invitation to continually rewrite the narrative of one's life, one unexpected notification at a time. Now, as I reflect on these transformative months, I am filled with gratitude for that single message which shattered the monotony of my existence and led me to a life replete with passion, mystery, and authentic connection. The private spa appointment was not an isolated event but the spark that ignited a series of midnight escapes, each one a testament to the beauty of embracing the unknown and the endless capacity of the human heart to reinvent itself. Every time my phone buzzes now, I smile at the thought of possibility. I know that beyond the digital screen lies a realm of hidden sanctuaries and secret paths, waiting to be discovered by those who are brave enough to step away from the well-trodden path. And so, with each new notification, I welcome the call to adventure, ready to unlock another door, to discover another piece of myself, and to let the magic of the midnight escape guide me ever onward. In the end, I have come to understand that life is a series of invitations, some bold, some subtle, all urging us to break free from the ordinary and to embrace the extraordinary. The intimate, midnight escapes are not mere flights of fancy, they are essential journeys into the depths of our own hearts, where we learn that every moment of vulnerability is also a moment of profound beauty. And so, I continue to wonder, to seek, and to dream, forever grateful for that one fateful notification that transformed my life and taught me that sometimes, the most daring escape is the journey back to oneself. Even as I write these words, the memory of that transformative night lingers like a soft melody, a reminder that, in a world ruled by routine, it is the quiet, courageous acts of defiance that breathe life into our souls. I remain open to the call of the unknown, ever ready to follow the subtle signs that lead to hidden gardens, forgotten sanctuaries, and the tender, unspoken truths that reside within us all. Each midnight escape is a promise fulfilled, a promise that life, in all its unpredictable wonder, is meant to be lived fully, with passion, curiosity, and the unyielding courage to embrace every secret it has to offer. And so, as I close this chapter of my journey, I do so with a heart lightened by adventure and a spirit forever awakened to the beauty that lies just beyond the veil of the ordinary. For in the quiet hum of midnight, amidst the soft glow of lanterns and the whisper of hidden pathways, I discovered that every escape, no matter how fleeting, is a step toward reclaiming the essence of who we truly are.